And it's showtime. What is going on, everybody? I am Tyrone Wilson. I believe this is episode 6 or episode 7 of my mental health journey. This all started because I shared my mental health journey publicly on national TV on the show Ready to Love, and it garnered a lot of positive feedback. I decided to do it again on IG Live, and it got even more feedback. And then, it finally hit me that, mental health is something that we should be able to talk about. And it doesn't make you soft, right? Vulnerability is a strength. Um, I like to tell people that you are not alone in all of this. There are things that have affected you mentally as a child growing up or as an adult, and they affect you now. And that is okay. Mental health matters. It is important. It is an important topic to talk about. Today, we have Pio and Fernando um, to talk about their latest experiences. We also have Cornelius joining us. And first, before we even begin, I want to applaud you all, fellas, for being able to, to come out here, tell your story, uh, be vulnerable. You know, um, Obviously, I would never expect anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do. So, I shared my journey first. I talked about, a lot of things and how it affected me. So we're gonna dive into it with the fellas here. It's gonna be a really, really good show. Um, got some surprises planned, so we'll see how that goes. So for the fellas, what we're gonna do today is we definitely want to keep the focus on mental health, right?
Yeah.
You may see some comments in the chat that pertain to the show. Try not to answer those. Just focus on the show. Paul, we can only see a little bit of your head, so you might have to
Wait.
bring it down a little bit. Everyone, while Paul's getting that straight, everyone in the audience that's here,
How
I
about
want to
now?
thank you all for joining us. You good? You good? You good? You good? So I'm happy that you fellas are here. Thanks for joining me. I know it was kind of short notice, so I appreciate it. Be short notice is kind of my thing lately. All right, so basically, what I want to talk about is how the extra exposure from being on reality TV has affected you. And then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some specific questions. We'll talk about some specific moments, in your life during the season, during the taping, that stood out the most to you and how you handled it, you know, how you are handling it now and what advice you would give to people after you, right? That's kind of where we're going to focus on. But if things come up as we're talking, we'll get it in. All right.
Can I
So,
say, can I say
yeah,
one
go
thing?
ahead.
before we
Go
start?
ahead.
Okay.
Hmm.
I just want to get this out there before we start. Um, because I'm still on the show, right?
Hmm.
And, I'm still an active participant. There are certain things that I won't touch on, certain things that I won't really dive into, and we can come back and then revisit certain things that I feel may, not be able to be addressed in this moment.
Okay. Yeah.
But for the most part, we're going to just focus on the mental health portion of it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
like I said, we can, whatever it is, we need to come back and recap. We can do that as well.
Okay. For sure. For sure. For sure. So, my very first question is how do you feel your mental health was prior to starting the show?
Is that for me?
Yeah. You know what, Paul? You go first.
Okay. So before I started the show, I felt like everything was good. I thought I was in a good space. Um, I was probably the most. I was probably in the best physical form that I've been in a long time. So because I was physically feeling good in terms of working out and all of that stuff, mentally that actually, was rewarding as well. So I felt like I was in a really, really good space. I didn't think that, that I would be feeling any challenges in life at that time.
I'll say for myself, man, life was good. Traveling everywhere, having a good time, being freshly single. Um, I didn't really was missing out on anything. Like I was really enjoying life. So opportunity then to be on Ready to Love was just like even a bigger step and moving forward in life. So like more progress, more success, and achieving more goals. So for me mentally, I was good when the show started.
Okay.
I couldn't really hear Fernando on that. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I heard him. I heard him. He's a little low, but I heard him.
Yeah,
Okay.
he said he was good. He was traveling the world. Life was great. So he was good.
Yeah, I would say same thing. I'm a big proponent of mental health therapy. I've been in and out of there. I'm not in and out of. I've been in therapy for a few years now. So one of my main things was always to put myself in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, I've learned to just control my own narrative as far as making sure I'm always mentally healthy. And if I do come across any kind of roadblocks, then I use some of the tools I've learned in that process to make sure I don't spiral in either way. So I think before the show, I was awesome.
Okay, cool. So I mentioned that I wouldn't ask y'all to do nothing I wouldn't do. So I'm gonna try to ask these questions as well. And if y'all need me to go first, answering the question at any time, let me know. So for me, I was, I guess I was in denial about, my childhood traumas and stuff. So prior to the show, I was just getting over everything. Well, I was thinking I was getting over everything. So I felt I was good too, right? So we got a question that kind of touches on that a little bit. So let's move to this next question, right? So the next question is, where do I want to go with this? How are you dealing with the extra exposure now?
So for me, it was like, well, I'll tell you this. I had a lot of airtime.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was like one day life was just normal. It was like regular, normal, and I woke up and I didn't realize how big the show was. I didn't realize how how much, how attractive the show really was, and many people were invested into it. And so for me to go from that and then bam, like I go outside and people are calling my name and I turn around and I don't know these faces. Who I am was kind of that was a little bit jarring, because if you're from where I'm from and somebody calls your name that you don't know, then sometimes you have to be prepared to
handle it.
Yeah, right. So for me, somebody's like, "Yo, what's up, Paul?" And I'm like, "Do I know you?" Or like, got to put on a Bruce Lee hands, or what I mean, or what? It was a lot. Like, I didn't get any type of coaching or anything going into this. Like, you about to be on radar. So it was a lot.
Okay, Cornelius.
I would say I'm dealing with it pretty fine. I always tell people I've always been very active in social media, stuff like that. I've done some radio stuff, some TV stuff. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I've done some radio stuff. I've hosted podcasts and things like that. So some of the attention wasn't that that new, but I definitely found recently outside because I'm naturally an introvert. But now when I'm going outside, definitely people, grown ass men, are pulling up on me like, yo, what's up, bro? Like, I saw you on the show. Like, you be like, yo, damn, I wouldn't think this, seemingly thug looking dude is watching these shows, right? Like, I'm out in Baltimore and dudes is pulling up on me. I'm like, oh, he about to rob me or nah? He like, nah, dog, I'm just coming to dap you up. I'm like, oh, okay. Right? So it's very interesting because people definitely feel like they kind of like your BFF off the whatever they saw on the joint. And I was, y'all know I was on the joint short-lived, so I ain't even had the airtime like Paul had. Or even Fernando for real. But the thing, but it's definitely interesting when people come up and the familiarity part of it is very interesting to see how people develop a narrative in their head about you and then apply it, and they don't know nothing about you at all. So it could be most of it's positive from what I've experienced, but then they also got some people that's beyond some crazy, like just coming up with all kinds of negative things about you. We all know based on the edits.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that negativity.
Yeah.
Fernando.
For me, definitely, people's walking up to you, acting like they know you is kind of throwing me off. I'm not used to that. I'm a pretty private person, so even for like my social media accounts, my Facebook, my IG, normally has been private. So going on the show, it was like, okay, I'm gonna make it public and kind of open myself up to the world. And really, people think they actually really know you, and they don't. And they kind of make assumptions about you and stuff based on what they've seen on the show, as well as your social media account. Like random myths I've seen, like somebody saying, like my job pays for me to travel, and I'm a clown because of that, and I'm trying to fake, act like it's my money, where the whole time like this has always been me. Before the show, I've always traveled, my funds, my money. No job pays me to travel. I'm 100% remote, but even though when I travel, I'm not working on my vacations. But people assume they know about you. They assume what things. They know the behind the scenes information about you. They really don't. But you have to kind of take it in and accept that they're just assuming, and you can't take it to heart. They don't know the truth behind it. So why even give it energy? Just kind of ignore it.
True.
But I had to kind of learn to kind of see those comments and scroll past it. Like it ain't worth the energy to even reply to them.
True. We are definitely going to touch into how you're handling it, how you're going to respond, how you responded to it. That is coming up. I know for me, I'm just kind of taking it in stride. I'm realizing that it is what it is, right? We are part of a fraternity now. We're highly recognizable. And I just try to focus on the positive, and not just the negative. Like even today, like my shirt is all about, me being positive. You can't see the man at the bottom, but essentially, that's anxiety, PTSD, negativity. You know what I mean? I'm feeling great today. Next question. Oh, I misspelled it. When did you finally realize, the taping was affecting you mentally?
From the door, like from the first time I saw myself on TV, I was like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
And, having to restrain yourself from going out there and starting a campaign, a free Paul campaign, like, yo, y'all got this man locked up. I need to show y'all who I really am. That was frustrating, man. Like I spent like days on days trying to figure out how I'm going to unhinge what they showed as unhinged. You know what I'm saying? And not being able to affected me.
Okay.
So, it was a point where I looked at that and there was several emotions that came out of it. One was outrage and rage, right? And the other one was like confusion. I was angry. I don't really think I went through sadness, but I definitely was. Oh man, yeah, I was hot. Actually, I ain't gonna lie. So,
totally understandable. Yeah. Fernando, what about you? Oh, you muted, man.
For me, I first realized it was like I never expected to be eliminated first. Just didn't think that would happen. So the time you put into preparing for the show, clothes, outfits, everything else, your look and everything, physically getting fit, and then being eliminated off the first episode kind of had me messed up. So I'll be honest, like going home that night, stopped by a friend's place, we got the drinking, and I was twisted, and went to sleep, and I'm keeping 100. I have a high bed, and somehow in the middle of my sleep, I rolled out of the bed. My face hit my nightstand, and I split my nose right here. That was the same night I got eliminated. So waking up the next morning, already feeling bad, and then my face all messed up, and my nose swollen. It was like, come on, bro. Like this is how it's starting off. Like it's pretty messed up. But I had to just like get over it. Like, bro, it happened. It's already done. Now it's my job to kind of keep myself, cool mentally and just figure out what I'm gonna do moving forward. My story is already told on TV, but now it's my opportunity now to kind of show the world who I am through my social media accounts, through my interviews and everything else, and just begin to kind of change that narrative that has been placed on me from the show.
Okay. I got a follow-up question to that. Was the anxiety there about your friends and family seeing that you were going to be the first one eliminated?
Definitely.
Eventually.
I mean, instantly, because, people I told them I was going to be on the show, they're excited to see me on the show. And it almost came to a point where I didn't want to tell people I was on the show anymore because I didn't want to expose them to my failure. Yeah. And I really had to kind of man up and be like, just because I was eliminated first, it's thousands of people eliminated before me that didn't make it this far into the journey. So where I made it is just a little further than anybody else. So I was first off of the show, but I made it this far. So I can't knock myself down too much about it. So I had to kind of look at it in a positive way, not in a negative way. But definitely at first the anxiety was there because it's like exposing my world to one of my biggest failures in my eyes in some form or fashion.
Okay. Word. Cornelius.
Yeah, I kind of along the same lines of what Paul said, which is basically I like to be in control of my own situation, right? And so, we didn't get no previews, we didn't get no heads up on kind of what this was going to look like. So when it came out, I was just like, oh shit, they got me out here looking crazy, right? Or the perspective that was given, I felt just wasn't a accurate representation. And the fact that I couldn't, it's just not enough time in the world to kind of go and do that damage control almost. It's kind of how I looked at it, right? It's like, yo, what the hell was that, right? And now you're looking at it like, oh shit, like, all right, so what should I do in this scenario? Because you got your people that know you, right? They know damn well that some of that stuff is not accurate, right? But for the majority of the people that are going to be seeing you on TV, they don't know nothing about you but what's presented. And the fact that I couldn't get to those people and say, nah, look over here too, right? Like y'all see that. And I always say, I've been telling everybody, it's still TV also, right? So, we got to factor that into the whole reality part of it, so it didn't really affect me too negatively because I'm like, I could cap back, talk shit, do whatever I want, right? But at the same time, that loss of control was just like really eating me up for probably just like the first week or so when it's new, especially because I came in as like one of the new people. And so, people that already developed, you see all the comments and all this shit and all these strangers just trying to roast your ass.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, y'all want to roast? Oh, y'all don't even know who y'all fuck with.
Right. We're gonna talk about that too.
Yeah. I don't want to jump too early, but overall, it didn't really affect me negatively too much mentally. Honestly, it's just that I just wanted to find a way to also get, also put my version of it out there. So it was just that first week. Really, after that, I was pretty good.
Okay. I haven't really told too many people this, but I'll tell y'all since we're all being transparent right now. I had an anxiety attack during the show. It was during that, the situation with Kerry. I think it may have been, prior to the first lady's deliberation. And all I could think about was the negativity and them kind of sharing all of my childhood traumas, amongst each other. And for me, they were all strangers, a week ago. So I'm thinking about a room full of strangers being like, oh, he might be crazy. He got PTSD. He was in the military, so he unstable. I'm not thinking about any of the positive things that they could be saying. It was just all negative, negative, negative. And luckily, my sister was there. I guess she was dropping off the keys or something, and I just asked her, I was like, am I doing this all wrong? You know what I mean? Like, am I fine? Am I okay? Like, is it going to be all right? We hugged, I cried a little bit. I even made a IG story about it, said it on Twitter. I was like, yo, I'm going to just be transparent. I had a goddamn anxiety attack today. The first one, probably like the first one ever in my life. And then that's how I knew it was like really, really getting to me.
Yeah.
Really.
It's a lot. There's a lot to process that stuff. Just because, all the time we probably, we put in leading up to it, all the time you spent recording it, all the time you waited until it's released. So all that build up come up, and then boom, you see the final product, and you're like, oh, this is a lot going on because of the, people, this ain't real time, right?
Okay.
So people that just seeing it, they think this is new, right? But nah, this been building up for months. And then now you see it, you're just like, yo, what the hell?
Yeah, because you got the anxiety of the build up, knowing that you're going to start taping. And then you got the anxiety of the taping. And then you got the anxiety of them finally releasing the first episode.
Yeah.
And then you're all watching it for the first time. I know I had a watch party. And I was like, oh, shit.
Right.
Like, my first 30 seconds was not good. If you remember, like, my very first 30 seconds was not good at all. And I was like, shit, so this is how it's going to be?
Right.
When I watched your episode, I agree with that too, because I was like, yeah, who is this dude, right?
Yeah.
But then I keep telling people, like, because I've been watching reality shows forever, right? And I be thinking about how some of these, I've always said the black guys are always looking like real crazy, like even on some other shows, I was just like, where the hell they find these motherfuckers right here, right? Like, who are these people, right? Like, they could have found better representations almost, but now I'm like, oh, I take back everything I said. Because those editors, boy, they got to look in a certain way that's not necessarily the most, the most progressive. You know what I mean? So I took back all the stuff I've been talking shit about people. I took it all back because I was like, oh man, that boy probably didn't even say that.
Probably going through it, yeah. I got another question. It might get a little deep. And if y'all decline, you can decline. I'll still talk about it. Because I almost just touched on it. Ready? This is the next question. Were your childhood traumas triggered at any time?
So I'll speak to that. So my childhood traumas are probably different. Reason being is that I grew up where the whole house there was 6 of us kids, right? And then she also 2 of my cousins, female cousins. And so that was 8 people that he was carrying on one salary, right? So for me, because I'm the youngest in my family, get the things that I wanted to have, clothes-wise, shoes-wise. My new clothes was my brother's old clothes. And so because of those traumas, I made sure, like in this life now, I always made this promise to myself that you know, once I get in a position, I will never, rob myself of having or dressing or wearing the things that I like to wear. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know how it goes. There's certain things that you can wear, there's certain things that you cannot wear. And you have to be told what you can and cannot wear.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, not being able to sort of, come out and dress and move the way that I like to move in the real world, it sent me back to that place where I'm like I worked hard as fuck to get to this place, and now somebody else is going to try to tell me what I can and can't do, how I can and cannot do this. So, so sometimes there was that. Now I had this rebellion thing in me where I'm okay. We're gonna see, and so I would put my little sauce on it, or maybe I might come with the shit and then it don't be iron. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I was set off, and even today, right? I take pride in my fashion, and being able to do that. And so that was taken away from me in that moment. It was like that left a real, real nasty edge.
Okay. Cornelius, you want to comment on that?
Not during the process, I don't think any of my childhood stuff was triggered. I had a lot of my things came from just being in an environment that was, unfortunately affected by, drug use and stuff like that for the most part, right? So, all of my other stuff has been resolved with me, where I work through my triggers almost, where I kind of approach things where I almost can just like get around them, right? And it's taken probably about 3 or 4 years for me to get to that point where I can literally almost, and it's probably not the best move, but it's almost like a detachment issue, right? Like I'll just detach from stuff so that I can I don't set the expectation that I'm going to be in some like kind of cloud nine ass happy place all the time, right? So if I can set it right there, then I won't get disappointed. So I'd rather not be disappointed versus being overly excited. If that makes any sense, I'd rather just be neutral, and if it's awesome, it's awesome. If not, I already expected it not to be, or I ain't expecting for it not. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't think any of my childhood traumas were triggered that I could think of. I didn't feel that way during the process. I don't right now. So luckily for me, I didn't really have any of those.
Okay. Do you feel like that's a fight or flight mechanism? Like that's a defense mechanism, so you don't have to embrace it, so to speak? That you just tell yourself you're good, even though you may not be?
I think it's a little bit of that, for sure. I think it's a little bit of that for sure, but most of it is just that I know I have to protect my own peace, right? And for me to do that, I have to also understand that I can't control anything outside of me, right? I can't control these other people. I can't control the rest of the cast. I can't control the producers. I can't control nothing except for what I do and make sure I present myself in the best way that I know how, right? And as long as I'm satisfied with that, then the rest of it, I understand that it's going to be almost, it's going to be too much of a heavy burden for me to carry to try to feel like I'm going to affect something else. So, or outside things. And so that, for me, puts me in a better comfort level to make it so that, I can reduce the amount of triggers and how quickly they come along and things like that. And like I said, I've always been a very laid back kind of nonchalant guy. But I'm even more so that now because I know that I have to control my mental stability and how much I go into things because naturally I'm more emotional than I come off. My stuff is all in my head, right? Like I'm not an emotion on my sleeve person. I'm not like I'm not I don't exhibit a lot of the emotion that's actually going on.
No, yeah, I feel you because sometimes I may look serious, but I trust you on the inside. I'm having a ball. You know, I'm just observing things right now, but I'm happy.
Right.
You know,
I get in and process, and I process it, and I try to also add my logic tree to it, where I'm just like, what is going to be the outcome, and what's the real, what's going to be the real beneficial of me letting this emotion affect me right now.
Okay. Fernando, did you answer that yet?
No, I have not. So I know I'm an overthinker, and even for work, I do analytics. I analyze information, analyze things. And so, think about childhood trauma. I was always worried about, somebody looking at the way I looked, the way I dressed, the way I spoke, and it kind of brings an anxiety for me. Always trying to think of how they feel about what I'm saying, what's their opinion of what I'm saying and what I'm doing. So being at the mixer, asking questions to these beautiful women I never met before, trying to think of what do I ask them that will seem like, I'm actually interested in them, as well as the audience watching it and them viewing me as an intelligent person, as somebody who is, doing the right things. But initially it's just like, man, am I asking the right questions? Am I saying it the right way? My speech, my delivery, how do I sound? And just even now, still dealing with those same feelings of anxiety, being on live camera. There's no edits, there's no going back, there's no replays. And it's really trying to think of, what am I saying? What am I doing? But a lot of times you get too caught up in that. And instead of trying to worry about what they're thinking, just be yourself. Like I said, Cornelius was saying, just be natural. There's no point in you trying to adjust to somebody else or trying to appeal to what they're looking for. Just being you should be enough. Whether they accept you or don't accept you doesn't matter, because you're still being yourself. You're still being transparent. So I'd rather be the real me than try to be somebody else to impress others.
No doubt. Hey, you could have asked me for some questions, brother, because I got the wild questions.
The question.
Nah.
Yeah, for me, my joints was definitely triggered. Definitely had to fight through, the inability to trust, the validation in myself, that I do deserve love and that I am worthy. So those were the two main things that I had to push through, of just trust the fact and, actually give, love a try,
No.
So
what? I will real quick. You said, the trust factor. So I'll take it back a little bit from my answer then, because one thing about it, when they told me that they were going to have this quote unquote special role for me, first instinct, because I don't trust nothing, right?
Yeah.
So my first instinct, I told them, I was like, I don't want no special role because it sounds like a setup.
Yeah.
I was like, ain't no way. I don't want to be some kind of special, whatever the fuck y'all trying to do. I don't trust that, right? I trust what I already saw. Yeah. Don't give me no new fugazi ass stuff that I need yet. Y'all said that you're gonna be on this thing you already saw before. Have you watched the show before? Yeah, that I'm comfortable with. But now you coming in here with a curveball. Don't bring me that shit. Now I don't trust the goddamn thing. Right? I would take that. I would say that. And the only other one is one thing from my childhood. I've always been a big dude. I was always overweight, stuff like that. And so a lot of the stuff with some of the first comments, they were like, oh, this fat motherfucker pulling up his big ass jeans. I was like, oh shit, that's how y'all feel. Right? So I think that was a bit more triggered too. But again, I've been fat since 1980. I don't give a fuck about these people. They don't want that smoke out here,
Right. All right. We got another one. What is a comment that sticks with you most?
I'll say when a girl, like, just touching on real quick, the travel thing, her saying that I'm a fuckboy.
No, I meant we're talking about like someone like maybe on social media that you see.
Yeah, so that was a YouTuber, but that and me being Jamaican. And it's just that, like, you just realize they really don't know who you are. So they can say whatever they want to say about you. And there's no reason you're getting mad about the shit because they don't know you. They really don't. They don't do the research. They don't vet. They just talk and say what they want to say. And then others latch on to it, others don't. But it just really doesn't matter. So just seeing comments that don't relate to me, especially just like I'm Jamaican, like I'm Panamanian. I said on the show I'm Panamanian. So if you just say I'm Jamaican, just like y'all not paying attention, y'all don't listen, y'all just say what y'all want to say, or y'all say what y'all think. So at that point, it's like, you know what? It don't even matter what you're talking about. Like they just talking shit.
Yeah.
Paul, I'm gonna save you for last, Paul, because I know you was making
okay. Yeah.
you was making videos and stuff. Cornelius, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's so many of them because, you know, I talk so much shit that a lot of the comments to me, I was just like, oh, I can't wait to clap back on these Bammers, right? Like, go at them, right? I think probably, I think overall, the comments that I see that are kind of like the standard ones, you know, based on what was presented was that, Cornelius isn't ready, or Cornelius is a commitment phobe, basically, right? Like the way it was presented is that I was randomly I would get on this show and then tell all the women they shouldn't be committed, which was not the case at all, right? But I think that's probably the one that sticks out the most. I'm like, that's not my jam at all.
Yeah.
Right. And but again, I can't combat it was put out there, right? So I think that one, and also when they were talking about the funniest one was they said I was wearing farmer jeans on my first date. They were like, get corn. They were like, look at Cornbread coming up here with wilding in them wide leg farmer jeans. I said, oh, for real? That's how y'all feel. So I was like, y'all know my struggle because I got big thighs. I can't wear them skinny jeans like the rest of these boys. You know what I'm saying? So the fuck how y'all feel. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to buy me some new jeans, y'all can send me the cash out. Right? You know what I'm saying? So that was the funny one, and then you got the other one. I said, Sonny, why I can't wear my jeans on TV? That's y'all disrespectful. And then there was a guy, the other one, sorry, my bad. There was a guy who made a whole YouTube video about how Cornbread wants to be a baby daddy. That was like, it was a 30-minute thing about how I wanted to be a baby daddy. And I was like, where the fuck did they get that? And that was the craziest thing. Like, that's wild. Like, he made that up. Like, he literally just made it up.
Yep, they even got on you about the cat, man.
Oh, hey, hold on. That's another thing, too. Listen. The funniest shit about the cat stuff is that the way it was presented was like, I actually went to the painting ship.
Hold on. We might have to hold off. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, real quick. Yeah, you got it.
But yeah, they, you know, R.I.P. to the pimp. They act like I pulled up on some morbid life. Like I planned to paint my dead cat. That wasn't the case at all. I painted a cat, and then I told the story about how I also had a cat, right? But then, you know, the way it come out, I drove to the painting ship, and I was like, today, I don't want to do nothing more than paint my dead cat on the first. Come on, that's just goofy.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Paul, what is the comment that sticks with you the most?
Comment or comments? So I was, because there's a rivalry with these comments. I've heard.
You don't have to say the platform or where you got it from.
I'm not.
Okay.
I've heard fringy as fuck, corny lines, old school player, all of this stuff. And then what was the other one? I mean, there was a whole video that was made, you know, I play games. I'm like, damn, this was my first moment that people saw me and they said I play games. Who would have thought? You know what I'm saying? So it's just been like the same consistency, corny lines, cringy, creepy, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I'll tell y'all, for me, I'm trying not to get emotional during this whole thing, but for me, there was a comment that I saw. Somebody said, and here's Tyrone going through his weekly existential crisis. And
Wow.
this individual went through different episodes, found pictures of me when I was looking bug-eyed, took screenshots, got them all together, posted them to a forum just to make that comment. And like y'all was saying, like they don't know you, they don't know what y'all are going through. And this was a point in time where I was really kind of like getting over it and feeling confident about myself. And then I saw it again, and we're gonna talk about like how y'all are getting rid of the doubt in yourselves. And it just kind of raised doubt, even though it was over weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? I'm finally feeling good. I'm finally getting used to being on it. Then I see the comment, and I'm like, and now I had to like remove myself from all social media. I took a couple weeks off because people don't realize it's kind of like, what's the best way to explain it? Like when you're on the internet and you got a bunch of tabs open, right? You may be currently looking at a good tab that you're focused on, right? But and y'all have been through it in the back of your mind, those tabs with the negative comments on it are still there, right?
No
It's
doubt.
still open in the background. So,
No doubt.
You could be in the shower, you could be in the toilet, you could be about to go to sleep, waking up, and you're just remembering, this negative shit over and over again. And admittedly, it gets to you, man. Like, it really does get to you.
I agree on that. Even with, because, you get a lot of us have probably just as much positive feedback as negative feedback, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're going to be supporters as well. But unfortunately, sometimes the haters and the doubter and the negativity always get in your head and simmer there, because we all want to be looked at as the most favorable version of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So if you feel like somebody's judging you without context, which I think is a big part of this, right? There's the context is missing, and like you said, this person went and put their whole effort into taking screenshots of you and coming up with this synopsis. Like, why would somebody do something as mean and negative as that on a stranger that they don't even know, just to put you in a worse position? Like, what kind of world is that, and what kind of person would want to put somebody in that predicament and have them feeling bad or whatever? It's crazy.
Yeah, because I don't know if y'all know, but you can go to the forums and just do a search for your name, right? So if you do a search for your name, one time I saw mine, and I think that shit was over 200 comments.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn, they got 200 comments about me? Shit. I don't even want to look,
Yeah, just when you think you're not that interesting, you find out how interesting you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say, here's the whole picture of it for me. It's like if I gave you guys a blueprint, right, and told you exactly what I needed and what my house looks like, and you said, okay, we're going to build your house for you. And then instead of building it based off of the blueprint that I gave you, you build that house any way you feel like it, and you tell me it's done. And then you show up on scene and you see that that's not the house that you talked about. That's not the house we discussed. And then to live in that house, right? And then have your neighbors drive by and laugh at that house and talk shit on that house and say, oh, that house is a piece of shit. It's an eyesore in the neighborhood, and you're living in that house, right? And you can't do anything because you spent all your money on that house. So that's just your life now. Yeah. And regardless of whether you go knock on the neighbors' doors and say, hey, they screwed this up. No, they didn't. You paid for that. Right. See what I'm saying? So you have to live in that same environment until whenever.
Okay.
If ever.
We got some follow-up questions to the comments. Everyone answered it, right?
Okay. To what P.O.'s saying, though, what I'll say real quick is the fact that I was fortunate enough where when I saw Cleo's house get built, and I saw my house, I was like, well, shit, my house ain't that bad. But they keep talking about that nigga's house the whole time. So I was like, you know what I mean? So editing was some trash, but it wasn't bad as it could have been. So I was like, damn, homie, they did you dirty, bro. So it's like, you know, it's all bad for me. Like I was fortunate to have some of the attention go on him instead of for me.
Okay, we got a comment, a question. Did the comments from your current castmates affect you?
No.
The comments made on the show or comments made outside of the show?
Comments that maybe you're seeing in the confessionals, you know, now that you're able to see those things. Comments that they may have made about you on the show. Yeah.
I would say there's a comment on there where they show me meeting Keena. And then the next scene, they have Keena saying she don't like guys with big butts. And so the way it appears is like she's talking about me and me having a big butt. And so when it came out, she told me immediately, like, yo, I did not say that about you. It's a general comment that I made. I was just talking. But the way they put it together, it appears I'm talking about you directly. So like that thing kind of threw me off. It was like, I got a big butt. Like nobody would say I got any butt at all. But you know, kind of want me to appear like a bigger person. So to add to that narrative, they do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, when I saw some of the stuff based on the fact that I had already talked to people, you know, I've had conversations with them. I knew how those actual conversations went. When I saw the final edited product, I was like, I can't take this seriously because I know from what I just did from my perspective where I was like, you know what, I know I didn't say that, right, that context. So I'm assuming this other person, you know, this other castmate didn't say that in that context as well, especially if they went on that smoke. If they would have said that in my face, I would be like, all right, but I know even just with the energy that they were giving off, the interaction we had, that they probably didn't say it like they presented it on, you know, on the show, like on the final product. So, but for me, I was able to tamper down anything that I felt might have been offensive or anything like that. Because I'm like, she ain't say all that. I was texting her the other day. Or, you know what I'm saying? They say that. Would have said that, she wouldn't have sent me this text. Right. So, whatever. Like, I'm gonna not let that affect me from what the public sees, right? Because we all know behind the, you know, all camera, behind the scenes, all that stuff, how those conversations went in real life, right? You know, they taking 2-hour dates and putting them into what, two minutes maybe, max. So we know damn well all the context is removed, and they just gonna get whatever they need for that little sound bite that's gonna get people to say, "Oh, Paul ain't shit, Cornbread ain't shit, Tyrone crazy." All this stuff they want these people to actually say, they gonna get it because they know that's the hook, right? And we know that. So I'm not gonna go and I'm not gonna pull up on Joy and be like, "Oh yeah, motherfucker," right? Like, because I know Joy ain't say that. I know Joy don't, right? Yeah. So that's how I tampered it down, just from looking at. I know I ain't say it. They probably ain't say that shit either.
Right. I'm gonna answer that. Did everyone answer?
No, I didn't get an answer, but my answer is no. No. Period. Just no.
Hey, that's your
Okay. Fernando, did you answer?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna answer, but before I answer, I'm gonna bring in another guest. Oh, you ready? You ready? I'm gonna
here we go, Tommy.
I'm gonna bring in another guest.
Curveball.
Tory.
Hey,
what's good, Tory?
How you feeling?
Hey, I'm gonna answer that question, Tory, and then we can then you can answer that. Give you a couple seconds to think about it.
Okay.
So the question is, did comments from castmates affect you? For the most part, no, I was good. But then there was a point where I did get affected a little bit, you know, because I didn't come there to hurt nobody, right? And I was doing my best to try to live it true, you know, but, you know, y'all saw the situation with me and Kerry. And then I saw in the ladies' deliberation, you know, Kerry was talking about a conversation that we had. And, you know, she said I just sounded cold, you know, during the conversation. And that was one of the things that stuck out to me because, one, it wasn't an easy conversation for me to have. I felt like I was doing the right thing. I felt like I was, the first person to, to even mention something about being true about your journey, how you're feeling. And, I think Cornelius just touched on it. Like, we literally just, like, we had a conversation about it. And it didn't come off that way to me, right? The way that, she had originally responded to it. So, like, watching it, I was like, oh, man. Because that definitely wasn't what I was trying to give off at all. So, Tory, you could just jump right in, man. Did comments from castmates affect you?
Honestly, just the ones with the false narratives have, but for the most part, the comments so far with the castmates haven't too much affected me.
Okay.
I really have had a bad relationship or a bad comment yet that I've seen from a castmate. I know Carmen had said something about my locks, but it didn't bother me. Everybody has their own personal choice.
Okay.
Yeah, and the only thing was just maybe this recent episode that kind of threw me from a aloof, but
Okay.
at this point, it is.
Okay, we could touch on that in a little bit. Thanks for that question, Marriott. The next question comes from S Breezy, and that question is, and y'all can be honest. Y'all can be honest about it. Do y'all have any issues with previous castmates making comments about you or your castmates?
I don't
Previous.
think about me for
But
real.
yeah.
Huh?
I haven't heard anybody say from the previous cast anything derogatory about me yet. Because we still got 6
Okay.
more.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I do review panels. Sabrina's on here. Me and Sabrina review the show almost every week. And I think the very first one I was on Kojo, Little Black Book. And I say some things, but I say them based off of what I'm seeing, right? Because I don't know y'all, I haven't hung out with y'all or anything. So I'm just speaking what I'm seeing. I focus on the dudes because I'm a dude. So when I see something that's different, I say something about it.
Right. And you know what? I'll tell you this, just to follow up with what you said, because I watch your panel. So while you watching us, I'm watching you watch us.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So I've heard when I've heard so much negativity about myself, right? With regards to not you, but with regards to other people, other seasons or whatever. And you said, nah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm still Team Paul. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think he's going to turn it around or whatever. And in that moment, I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Don't prejudge. Don't prejudge shit. Figure it out. And you know what I'm saying? But I think from the door, a lot of times what people are doing is the show or reality TV, let's just say that. I'm not even going to talk about Ready to Love. I'm going to say reality TV in general, right? What they do is they give their audience learned behavior, and that starts from the door. So what they do is they teach the audience who to hate, who to like, who to have mutual feelings for, and who to feel shaky about. They're teaching you that from the door for story building purposes. I know this because I do that work. And so when I saw myself and I looked at my story, I'm like, okay, so this is what they teaching them. And there's a couple of things that I saw, like for example, I'll just say this. If I show you 2 negative things from the door about any person, 2, immediately you're going to look at that person going forward as the negative person, right?
Okay.
And then if I show you 2 good things about a negative person that in real life, you're going to assume that that person is good for the purposes of storyboarding, right?
Okay.
And so I think what the audience did was they took that learned behavior and they educated that learned behavior. So what did they do? Next round comes around, they learn a little bit more, and they learn a little bit more about people, and that's what that's the art of storytelling. That's the art of storyboarding. They create these treatments, and in reality television, when you come on a reality show, what they do is from the door they start a treatment, and that is you may have 4 or 5 different stories going on at once, and there's a whole bunch of writers in the room, and they're saying, okay, because this person's behavior is this is who this is going to be. And so it was like a buy-in for that. And so when you were able to sort of like go past the buy-in part, you know what I'm saying, and look at people for, let's see if he's really a human. Like, let's see if he really has these attributes, if these are real attributes, or if there's room for whatever. There wasn't a lot of people that did that. You know what I'm saying? And so by by your interviews or by your reviews or whatever, for us, it was kind of like one of those things where I was like, okay, what I thought could be negative actually was positive. So that was a good look across the board.
Okay. The way that I always do it, I always like to talk about a little bit about our background, history or what have you, then negativity, and then I always like to end it on a positive note. But we have some more questions before we get there, though. And one of them is, have you ever responded to a negative comment?
Yes.
Who wants to take this first?
I do, like I said,
I'll take it first.
Go ahead, Tory. Go ahead, Tory.
I only have like about 15, 20 minutes, but
okay.
I'll take this first. I was never a social media person until recently anyway. I'm just now navigating and figuring out social media. So it was until maybe this week that I actually responded to a negative comment because I wasn't looking at them. And it was based on what had just recently aired. But then I also started looking at who was commenting. And it would be like 0 followers, 0 posts. And it felt like it was just like spam bots that were just doing the most negative stuff. Like it was like somebody's in the pot stirring. I was responding to them because some of the stuff they were saying was unsurreal. Like it was just very disrespectful. So I did respond to those comments. But, I respond to them as in a nice way, like, I'm sorry to hear that, but you really don't have to watch. Or, if you feel that way, you got to realize this is just reality TV and no reality. So, just in a roundabout way, but not coming at them so negatively, like hot, like they're coming at me. Because they see what it's like put out there, but it's not necessarily the truth.
Yeah, I've seen some of those comments out there, and I did respond to those negative comments, but but the way that I responded to them was, look, thank you for for following my journey, and because folks make negative comments because they're invested in the show. If they're invested in the show, that's what people want. And I'm just like, thank you for following my journey. And hopefully that, what you see may later on, maybe that'll turn you around. Who knows? And then I've just left it as that.
Okay.
Because if I take one and if I go to war with one, I got to go to war with all.
Yeah, true. And that's very, very hard to do, to convince everybody. Who didn't answer that yet? Fernando?
I mean, I'll say, listen, I'm Fernando on a TV show, but everybody at home call me Savage. So this social media shit, y'all want to be savage on there. Like, I will embarrass you. I'll go through your profile pictures. I'll talk about you, your kids, everybody. I don't care. I don't care. No cut cards, no filthy names. So instead, I ignore all of it. I don't reply because y'all can never beat me. I wish I could beat me. So see what you want to say. I could care less. I'm Gucci on my side.
I definitely, I responded to a couple of them, but then I just realized that it's gonna be too much, right? Like it's too much work. So I've done both. I've done kind of like the Paul approach where I was just like, hey, you know what? good looking out. Thanks for making all this content about me. You should invite me on your show, right? I'll tell you directly how I feel. You don't got to do no kind of you don't got to do no assuming and all that. And I've also fried some people. I was like, I know you fucking lying with them dry ass lashes. You better get the fuck out of here with all that.
Hey, and
I
you
know
know,
you.
you know,
I know you ain't
he's
talking about me.
stupid.
You ain't talking about them dry lashes leaning to the side. Oh no, man. You better go play with somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me just say something real quick while we're on that subject, because J Dub's in the building. I saw his
Subject though.
yeah, I saw his thing. So he said he likes how I responded to his negative comments, and that's true, because I take most of the time, you know, I'm always watching J Dub, and I take his comments and I put that shit on my page and I laugh at it. I mean, it's funny because I get it. You know, he has a job to do. We all got, you know, jobs to do. He breaks it down or whatever. And to me, I don't take it personal, but you know, you have to be able to laugh at it as well. And that sort of takes the air out of the fact that you get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So working backwards, there are people who have done vlogs about me. When they have the positivity, I always reach out and be like, thank you. But I normally just keep it short. I've had castmates literally like screenshot people and be like, yo, this person right here said I was ugly. This person right here called me ugly. You know what I mean? Like,
No doubt.
called me ugly.
Right.
You know,
Wake up and look in the mirror yourself.
so like I personally try to stick to the positive. I do not believe I've ever responded to any comment, much less any comment at all. If anything, I'll put a like or a heart or something and just kind of leave it at that. And then if I post something that may be a little controversial, you know, I'll just let them know and be like, hey, I'm only sticking to the positivity. Anything negative, I'm gonna just block y'all, you know, or kick you off the page. So, you know, I realized that I really needed to focus on the positive. Another question. How would you respond to negativity now?
For me, negativity is something that I really don't have time for, right? I feel like if you, I mean, just think. Let's just think about this real quick and just paint a quick scenario. If I'm watching the football game and Tom Brady had a bad day, right, and I get in my car, drive my $4.95 a gallon to the stadium, wait till the stadium clears out, and then he walks out finally, and then I get to hurl insults at him, right? And then go back home and do all of that driving back. That's a lot of effort to put in to launch a negative assault. So right then and there, that tells me that that's not even worth the while for me to respond back to it. If you have that much time to log on, search me, you know, type something at me on it and all that shit, like your problem is beyond me. So I'm not going to respond to it.
Okay.
I like what one of your comments just said. Unique said, most people with mental intelligence knows that they can't get the real you within a 2-minute clip. Unfortunately, the one thing about it, a lot of people are not practicing mental intelligence. And I mean that in a positive, like in a way, meaning they believe what they see. Unfortunately, it's like they don't understand some things are made to be portrayed a certain way. You're being portrayed a certain way, not because you're that way. It's just because that's where they want to direct you in. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't get that. That was a good comment that she did say.
Word.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and I'll use a corporate term, you know, that we always use in one little buzzword is the juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? Like it's not even worth going forward with these people because we know what we do, right? Like they didn't reach out to us because we were some bum ass dudes, right? They didn't reach out to us because we were some bum, ugly, unaccomplished, goofy ass dudes. They reached out to us because some, we some high performing, good dude, good prospect, right? So ain't no, all that negativity. Be like, nah, I know what I do in real life. You know what I'm talking about? So we focus on that. And y'all keep that moving.
All right. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I have mentioned earlier that I was gonna throw in some curveballs and some surprise guests. I actually asked some of the fellas for my season to come on and to provide some positive commentary, some positive feedback, considering they lived it. You know what I mean? And one of those folks that actually was going through it the most, and me being aware of the mental awareness, I always try to ask him, bro, you good? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna just bring him on, let him talk about it. Cornelius, man, what's good with you, man?
What's going on?
What's good with you,
brother?
What words of encouragement, positivity you got for the fellas?
The other Cornelius is in the building. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
no doubt.
Okay. The other Cornelius is in the building.
Right, Cornelius. gang.
Cornbread. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
Chilling, man. You got some words of encouragement?
Yeah, man.
Some advice?
Yeah. Man, the biggest thing, and I was actually talking to Tory the other day. We was on live the other day. The biggest thing I would say is definitely, I will say this is a cliche that men that we don't do, is to really seek therapy. You know what I'm saying? During this time more than ever. Really, honestly, before we got on the show, we probably should have been doing therapy, but definitely now, while the show is still going on, even afterwards, I would say go through therapy. And I will recommend that I'm actually working with currently right now. It's called at Black Men Heal. It's an Instagram page, Black Men Heal. It's a friend of mine that started that group, and he's been doing pro bono therapy sessions with me. I think we did 3 sessions so far, and it's been really good to kind of at least have some kind of outlet to be able to get out everything that I need to get out. How I think, what how I felt on the show, how I was portrayed, how I was misportrayed, and to be able to have a good, to basically get everything out. And then he also told me to write in a journal. I don't know if y'all journal or not, but as y'all going through each emotion every single day, write down how you feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a way to kind of get it out and kind of write out your thoughts too. And then you can always go back and look at it and see how you've grown over the time period. You know what I'm saying? So I would say definitely journal. It's another thing that I have been doing since, being on the show, coming off the show, because it definitely gets to you. You know what I'm saying? I've been there, man. I've been there where I just be sitting in the house. I mean, there was a whole weekend, man. I probably didn't leave my room. You know what I'm saying? Because you just taking in everything that, not only are you taking in the fans that are watching the show, and you can't even blame the fans because whatever they put out there is what they're going to go off of. But you're also dealing with your family members calling you, your friends calling, because they're watching and trying to support you. But then it's like, wait a minute, what are you doing here? What are you doing that? Now you got to explain stuff, and that's probably put you in a darker place than anything. You know what I'm saying? That's your people. That's people that love you. You know what I mean? And so I think that, and then there's some people that might not even call you. They're just gonna go off wherever they see. You know what I'm saying? So it just it's definitely a mind F. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to cuss. It's like a mind F. You know what I mean? And you just have to be. And I'll still get a text message every now and then, or I still see a tweet or a comment every now and then that will kind of put you back in that place a little bit. But like I said, the biggest thing is now is just really just healing. And I know y'all still going through, and y'all still gonna go through some more because I still got more shows. I got the reunion, I got some more coming, and everybody gets different edits. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I would say too is have grace for your other castmates, because I come to find out that me being on the show versus other castmates, they say, oh, well, I was edited, but then when they see me, it's like, oh, you wasn't edited. That's how you is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute, you was with this, you was on this with me. You supposed to be, we supposed to be in this together. You know what I'm saying? If you were edited, then I was edited. You know what I'm saying? So you would expect that support, but I think you get it. It hurts too when you get other castmates kind of downing you or talking bad about you or whatever. Especially when you know that you were edited. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, you was in this with me. So so I would definitely say, man, definitely, and have outlets. I think that's the biggest thing. Have your business ventures. Have times where you completely log off of social media completely. You know what I'm saying? Like I would just log off. You know what I'm saying? And not be in some of these chat groups, and then especially when you start looking at certain things on YouTube, it would kind of like certain things would come back up. People post your name and stuff like that, whatever. And you look at that stuff. Of course, you're gonna look at it or whatever. But I would say unsubscribe to some of these bloggers. You know what I'm saying? Unsubscribe to some of these bloggers. These bloggers will tear you up. Like, you know what I mean? I'm talking about wear you out. You know what I'm saying? And so I would say,
yeah, and it'd be the followers too, man. The followers is kind of like.
And so I would say definitely, be careful when you log into YouTube and you look at some of these blogs. I would say unsubscribe to some of them because they don't know you. You know what I mean? They only go off of whatever 5, 7, whatever 10 minutes they show of you on a TV show, and that's going to get whatever dramatic they can get out of you is what they're going to show. You know what I'm saying? People don't know you, but it's definitely a mind. But I would say, my biggest takeaway is therapy. Make sure you journal and just find an outlet, business, go to the gym. That was my thing, going to the gym. I would say those are the big things to do. Find some type of outlet to kind of pull you away from everything.
Okay. Cool.
My biggest encouragement.
Word. I got some questions for Tory because I know you're short for time. So Tory, one is a 2-part question. How are you dealing with the extra exposure? Because I believe you missed that question. Tory, how are you dealing with the extra exposure? And I'll let you answer that one first.
Honestly, just that's a good question. A very good question. I think I'm still coping with it because it's like I always lived a quiet life. I really wasn't a social media person. I like to be in the background, and sometimes I think in my head, like, why did I what made Tory do what I did and join this show? Because it's just not me. And how I've been dealing with it, honestly, is just, I'll be man enough to say I've been in a standstill for the last few weeks. Like, I just trying to figure out what direction should I be going with this, because I didn't have any underlining, motives and stuff like that.
Yeah. So follow up to that. This question is from, I hope I'm saying the name right, Mimi. What are your expectations for coming on the show? That's a follow-up question, Tory.
My expectations of coming on the show. That's a good question too. I thought it would be a little bit something different from like where you are dating in DC, like how DC dating is I thought it was going to be a little bit different process and a little different opportunity. And I was fast-tracked on this program when I was reached out to. And so therefore I didn't get time or do the due diligence that I should have before joining the process. I would say that. So my expectations was, meeting somebody that was, meeting a partner.
You got muted. Hey,
okay, so everyone else, what were your expectations prior to the show?
Where you want to go?
Let's start with Paul. Come on, Paul.
Okay, yeah, there you go. I didn't want to step on nobody's toes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I had an issue with dating women in the real world. Actually, I never had an issue with dating women in the real world.
Because you're a goddamn juggernaut.
Yeah, because I'm a juggernaut and I deliver. Okay. Nah. But the thing is that the women that I met in the real world were I don't know, it just didn't work. It didn't work out for what I was looking for. You know what I mean? It just didn't work. So I thought to myself, because I have a type, right, that, me always honing in on that type was a disadvantage. So I said, well, maybe I'll put myself in a situation where I can now be comfortable with being uncomfortable and explore, women for who they are and not for what I have on the paper. So,
okay. Cornelius, 2.0.
Yeah. I would say that based on all the stuff we had to go through up front, all the personality tests, questions, interviews, all that kind of stuff that we did in preparation, my expectation was going to be that out of all this stuff we done prepared for and all this information and data they collected on us, they probably was going to have somebody that was going to meet exactly what I wanted, right? I felt like if they gathering all this, it should be easy. It should be a home run out here somewhere, and I just got to get on in the process and make sure I do my best to make the connection with that person that's clearly personality matched, physically matched, all those things with me based on the data that they collected from us. So that's what I was looking for. I was like, man, this can't, just like Paul said, we don't have no problem dating in real, outside of the process, right? But I figured that these would be more vetted women, right? Like more, these gonna be some high performing, gorgeous women that should be presenting pretty much everything I want, right? That was gonna make me not have to go back out down U Street, 8th Street, whatever, the harbor, all this stuff. Nah, she right here. So that was my expectation. I was like, hey, it's about to be lit right here. Kind of like they was going to do some of the leg work for me and take some of the guesswork out of it. So that's what my expectation was. To find somebody I could go skip off into the sunset with, holding hand.
Real quick, Cornelius about to jump off. Cornelius, you got any last words? Cornelius 1.0.
Well, but I would say I kind of, my same sentiments. I definitely kind of what he, with other Cornelius was saying, basically, like, you're thinking that you're going to meet women that you might not have met otherwise, and so that's the reasoning why we even went on the show. I didn't go on the show for exposure. I didn't go on the show for, I was already getting exposure previous to getting on the show, so that wasn't the goal. So it was really taking in the journey and trying to find somebody that I might not have met otherwise. And I actually did. You know what I'm saying? And so that, I would say that's the positive end of it. But all of the negativity and all that, it definitely can convolute it. So that's why I said, therapy, therapy, man. I know that's not a big thing in the Black community, but I would say that's been the biggest help thus far. So.
Word. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
All right, man. I see y'all, fellas.
All right,
brother.
Tory said he got to roll out too. Tory, you got some real quick words for the people, or anything you want to say
for the people? I would say, just when you have judgment against the people that you're watching, take a little bit more time to look at those clips and just see how the conversation is flowing, if it's genuine, if it's flowing properly, if you see little choppiness and stuff like that, and just kind of have an understanding for these individuals, like, myself, P.O., Savage, Cornbread, Demetrius, and everybody on here, and just realize that you're not always getting the real betrayal of that individual, but you're getting that betrayal of that individual's storyline. It's a difference.
Okay.
Catching the storyline and catching that person is just two different things. And I would say just be a little bit more cognizant of everybody, because people are human on the other end.
Right. Got you. I'll say something in defense of Tory. And it was the scene with Precious. I know he's kind of getting a bad rap with the aggressiveness or the over aggressiveness. And we had mentioned it in a preview panel. It might have been 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, they showed the preview of the upcoming week. And in the preview, Tory and Precious is kissing, but they're standing up. And I remember being like, yo, is Tory and Precious kissing? And everyone's like, what are you talking about? I was like, yo, I seen it in the preview because we literally analyzed every single screenshot. I was like, they're kissing. They just kissed. It was I don't know if it was a kiss hello or a kiss goodbye, but they're standing up kissing, right? And people was like, nah, not Tory or Precious. I was like, hey, one person got locks on the show, right?
Yeah,
kissing.
same.
And then, what was it? I think it was the most recent episode. They never even showed that, right? They just showed a kiss at the table. But then it seems like it's over aggressive. But then I remember saying, her eyes is closed. I remember joking, being like, her eyes is closed, right? It wasn't like she said no to the kiss. You know what I mean? Even the one at the table, she accepted it. Yeah, she accepted it. And then she kind of pulls off, but she still like eyes closed, kind of like accepted it. So, you know, I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, and the thing about it, I hate it, is like it came out over aggressive, but what people don't see, I was being asked questions. Right? She was asking me questions, and I was answering those questions. So it wasn't me just going off on a tangent. It was me being answering and responding, because the only question they put in is like, "Are you the kid they snatched or whatever," something like that. And then she kept asking me other questions, and I was following her questions. But what upset me is people don't see that context. When if you just cut me in and don't cut the questions in, then people are like, okay, this guy's on a tangent. No, I'm responding to questions.
Okay.
You know, and that's the one thing that people didn't see, and it kind of disturbed me when I saw it, because I have 2 daughters, and I don't mind answering people questions. Just don't make it seem like I'm the one, you know, just doing all the communication.
Okay, so this is a really good segue to a question that Marriott asked earlier, and I know Tory, you're short. If you can answer it, you can. If not, I totally understand, because you say you got to go. But Marriott said, "How about the true things that were shown on screen about you? Any soul searching happening due to the show?"
Yes, a lot of soul searching. You know, realizing, you know, who I am, seeing how I'm portrayed that I'm not. Also realizing that, you know, I came to a show where I thought things were going to be different, like how Cornelius said, top cream of the crop, everything's vetted. I got my exact thing, and it helped me realize maybe I had better before the show. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we don't appreciate things until we go through opportunities like this that are not so successful. And it helped me soul search to realize what Tory wants, what Tory needs, what as I think Paul said, eventually, like, you know, stepping out of our types, because we tend to gravitate towards the same woman, and that might be our failures too. And I think even on the show, I gravitated to what I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like what I knew. It didn't break me outside of my box. And I think, you know, you walk away with the soul searching, appreciating the value of, 1, your privacy, 2, understanding that sometimes what you want is not what you need. And you got to learn how to differentiate that and go for the things that you need. Some people have a hard time doing that. They want, but you need. It's like, it's not really what you need.
Okay.
So that's my takeaway.
Word. You had to head out soon?
Yeah, I got like, I can get about 5 more minutes with you. My daughter's ready to go, but 5 more minutes if you need it. But if not.
Cool. We want to hear what Fernando, Cornelius, Paul have to say about that question about the soul searching. Go ahead, Fernando.
I misjudge certain people because, you know, I was only there for 1 episode. So, you know, being at the mixer, I will say I'm thankful for the audience and the fans to say that, you know, it's kind of messed up that you don't have enough time, because 24 hours of that one initial conversation is enough to really get a real idea of who this person is, especially for myself, being uncomfortable, dealing with anxiety the day of shooting, you know, being at the mixer. I wasn't myself. And my friends and family that watched the show, they were like, yo, that's not savage at all. Like, y'all saw, you know, somebody that just wasn't in his comfort zone. So, you know, if I had opportunity to have more days there, it might be a different story. But just being there myself, the woman that I met, some of them I didn't give the right attention to. I didn't act interested. I didn't really give them the right time of day or the proper time of day that I should have. based on my previous feelings of what I like, what I look for. And so if they didn't fit my type, or based on our initial conversation, I didn't feel like they were a good fit for me. I didn't give them the time of day. And then watching the show afterwards, seeing more episodes of them, still it's still a edited view of them. But just seeing what I saw and then knowing them after the show, knowing them personally, it's like, yo, they're some cool ass people. And I really should have took the time to get to know them. But me running off first impressions, I didn't give them a chance. So I had to like take myself, you know what I mean? Like saying, also like give me a chance, give them a chance as well.
Okay. Paul, what you got on that?
Okay, so what I'll tell you is this. And this, I don't want this to come off as being arrogant or anything like that. I probably would not. I don't have a whole lot of takeaways because the fact of the matter is that who I went in there as, right, is not translating well on screen. So if I looked at it from the viewership's lens, there's probably a whole lot of shit that I could say, I need to fix. But the way that everything, literally, like the way that I've done everything on there, there might be one thing that I might have fixed, and that would have been I probably would have paced and not been as assertive, right, as I was in certain situations. But at the same time, you sort of have to be assertive in that moment. But in the real world, I wouldn't probably assert so much at certain times. But what I will say is, like, from the mixer standpoint, the things that folks have seen, especially the conversation that I had with Ace, where it was like, oh, you ain't even give it a chance. That whole entire thing was it. And they did a damn good job. I will tell you that they did a damn good job. But at the end of that night, it was just a whole different thing. I could just tell you that. And I will say that, as harsh as it may look from that day, I wouldn't change anything with regards to that day. I wouldn't. And I say that with love and peace. And I know it looks bad, but I wouldn't change it.
Right. Okay. Cornelius.
I would say that I haven't done any real soul searching thoroughly. The only thing I took away from it really is that I need to control my own narrative. That's it, really. Like I felt like I probably wouldn't have done anything differently on my dates and things like that. I thought I had some good dates, right? Even when they when I got voted off, right? And they were like, I hit up the ladies and were like, good luck with y'all's, continued journey and things like that. And I never had any negative feedback from the ladies directly to me, right? So I would just say that the probably one thing I would do is probably the opposite of what Paul just said, which is I probably would be a little bit more aggressive, because I'm not aggressive like that in general. Like, I'm a laid back, go with the flow type of dude. But I probably would be a little bit more assertive and just make sure that people get to know me. But again, I don't think in my opinion, I just didn't have enough time to develop those connections, especially considering, I can't fall in love over ping pong. You understand? So there's that, right? So
Right.
I thought that it was, but as far as that, I probably wouldn't do much soul searching. Nah, not really, because like Paul said, I know who I am. I know who I am in real. I know who I am off camera, and again, it's still TV.
I feel you. I feel you on that. Like, for me, I did a little bit, because it's like, what you like and what you don't like and what's going to work and what's not going to work. But in the end, do you really? Because your asses is still single now, right? Like if you had the answers, you wouldn't be here. So if I had to do some soul searching, like there are, probably wouldn't have moved so quickly, right? And just like you mentioned, getting to know the ladies a little bit more. And a lot of them I like a whole lot more now, than I was on the show, but it's more like friendship. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even really give them a chance to even be my friend. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of like you're in there, you make a decision on forever or not, right?
Right now, yeah.
And then if it's not, it's kind of like you just cut them off. And I feel like I would have handled that a lot differently. You know what I mean? Next question, and this would be a time to either say something positive about a certain individual if you want, but did your friends or family provide any emotional support? And was that important? Was that important to you? Who wants to go first?
I'll take. Okay.
Go ahead, Pete.
But Tory said you gotta roll
good.
out.
Yeah, good, bro.
But Tory, you say you had to roll out. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We did.
Sorry, I'll send you a chat now to roll out.
Yeah, for sure. We put Tory's
on friends and family. So I don't really have that much family for support. At least not immediate, and nobody in my direct contact the area. After the show, I was seeking support in somebody that I was talking to, and we were talking after the show. But since airing the show, unfortunately, they have not, I guess just the betrayal of, even though they know me, the betrayal of what's been put out, I haven't been able to utilize their support as I needed before. So, but I will say some of the castmates have come out of woodworks, previous and current season, to offer me support. And I really appreciate that from all of them. It really has helped because, when you look at things and you just see yourself and it's not you, it really can put a damper on you mentally. It really can. It can just tear you down and just not having nobody there. But then also, unfortunately, I just don't have that support. But my castmates have my support, and I really appreciate it.
Okay. How you doing now, man? You good? How you doing? How you really feeling?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think yesterday I came to the conclusion where, like I said, I was talking to somebody and they just kind of backed out on me because of the show and dealing with, become a single dad. My daughter comes in, she's like, she hugs me, she be like, "Dad, what's going on?" I'm like, "Nothing, baby. You gotta put that front on for the kid." He sees me every day, and but I think I'm still going through unpacking everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still unpacking it slowly by slowly, healing and directing. I just hope they don't portray anything that's not me going forth. But because even on that date, we talked about mental health, we talked about a nephew, we talked about our lives growing up. But the only thing you want to highlight is the bull. You know what I'm saying? Like the bull, and I'm being asked questions, and to me, it's like, is it malicious? Are y'all doing that on purpose? Because it's okay to mix a little funny with a little bit of crazy in it, because I understand it's a show, it gotta sell. You know what I'm saying? But we people got real lives. I have a 15-year-old daughter that I've been raising since birth. I got a 7-year-old daughter. I got 2 beautiful girls that I raised as a father. I gotta lead by example. I don't mind answering anybody's questions. I'm gonna answer. That's the type of person I am. PO know me. PO's like, I'm pretty much straight up. Sometimes he's like, put the filter on it, try to put the filter. So, but for the most part, but yeah, I'm still unpacking because it's disheartening, especially if you feel like you're coming to a situation being genuine.
Hey, let me say one thing right there. I'm not sure if this applies for real, but your question was based on friends and family, and I think for all of us and just people in general with mental health, you know, it is good to not necessarily always depend on friends and family, which is why, you know, we have therapists, right? Professionals that work with this stuff that can lead you through what's going on from a clinical perspective and explain to you kind of what's going on, and not necessarily from a previously built narrative that they have in their head about you, whether it's compassion or whether it's negative or whatever, right? So I'm not sure, Tory, if you have a professional mental health therapist, but if you don't, then I would definitely consider doing that as well, because sometimes, because of the closeness and because of the history that we have with family and friends, they might be a good support system in certain scenarios, but not in every scenario, right? So a third party person that's coming in that's professionally trained to do this, what sometimes a very, very helpful thing, you know, even if it's a intro 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, to see if it's going to provide you any benefit, and then continue on with that. Because I think sometimes we do rely on people that are already familiar, we're comfortable with stuff like that, and sometimes they don't come through, and then that puts us in a position where we're like, damn, I thought I could depend on this person, but they not in that capacity. They don't have the capacity to actually support us in this scenario. And that's why you got to seek out those other things and make it an intentional thing about, you know what, I'm going to prioritize this for myself, just like I prioritize going to the gym, like I prioritize doing my real estate investments. Whatever it is that you do, make that a priority as well, and seek out professionals just like you would for a contractor in your house, or you go to a professional doctor, a healthcare professional to help with your physical health, right? So do that with the mental health as well, and make sure you seek that out if you know that's something that you haven't considered.
Yeah, those are good points, Cornelius. I'll tell you, with you know, the advisor told me at the VA, you know, you've been able to have this experience that not too many people have had. So the way that he explained it to me was, you've been able to see behind the curtain, right? So just try to associate yourself, you know, with other people who have been able to see behind the curtain, you know, because they would have a better understanding of the things that you're going through, and you would feel some type of familiarity there, some comfort there, because you know those individuals have been through the same thing. And you know, I'm always here for you, man. You know, I've totally been noticing, you know, I notice things, so you know, I can tell when people are you know, not what's the word, in a positive state. So it's good to have you on, man. You know, I'm here. Reach out anytime, you know,
Yeah,
anytime you
absolutely.
want.
And don't forget, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of this. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Paul.
I had some sound issues.
All right, Tory, we see you.
Yeah, all right, Tory.
See y'all later.
All right,
All right,
brother.
man. Take care.
So I'll tell you this. It was an oh shit moment for me when my debut to America came, and in the first 15 seconds of them seeing my face, I'm talking about sexual energy and all this other stuff. Now, I was perplexed. I'm not going to lie. And in that moment, as soon as I heard the sexual energy part, I went into audio exclusion, right? And just tunnel vision. And I didn't hear, and literally, like, I did not hear anything else that was going on. And I was like channeled in on that one statement that were my words, but not my statement. Right. And so, you know, for me, you know, first things first, I started thinking about my daughters, right? You know, I'm a man that I was raised.
Hold on, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to the part about you.
Okay. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, you're good.
All right. Well, so in that moment, anyway, I got calls from my sister, like at the next day. My sister, and friends and everybody, and it's like, what was that? Like, I know they did something, because that ain't even how you roll. You understand what I'm saying? So it wasn't even, I didn't even have to ask for support. Everybody just showed up like, yo, what the fuck? Like, that ain't even you. You don't even talk like that. You don't even talk that fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the way that they was making me roll, like I was on the roll with it. You know what I'm saying? They like, that ain't even you don't even roll like that, bro. And so so they came and they just showed up in that respect, and I knew that I was, I don't know. It was like I was just blank for a minute, like what just happened here? You know what I'm saying? And I was stuck. Like the next day I woke up, I was stuck. And then I got a little bit more stuck. And then I went into the land of Black Twitter. And you know how that goes. You know, you sliding down a razor blade hill and landing in the alcohol river, you know, just burns. So yeah, that whole situation was just like, it was hard to peel myself out of that rut. I'm not gonna lie. And my first thing, you from the streets, you like, okay, I need revenge. Who want what? You know what I'm saying? Who want what? But you can't, obviously you can't take that approach, but you're trying to figure out a way to save yourself. And if you don't have those folks coming to you, if I didn't have those folks coming to me like, nah, we know that ain't you, right? If I didn't hear that, and they came with a different opinion, because these are the people that matter to me the most. Had they have joined forces with the other folks that don't know me, that would have really probably taken me down a really bad path. So, just having those lifelines, throwing those lifesavers out to rescue you, that was like that was clutch.
Okay. And did everyone answer the friends and family?
I didn't have a moment yet. I'll say what stands out to me is a comment or a statement, and it's those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. So people that are saying things about you that are negative or just strong conclusions about you, they don't matter anyway. And those in my life, my friends and my family, they were supportive from the off jump. I mean, they called, text, everything. And friends of friends, family members reaching out to their coworkers and other folks letting me know, like, hey, bro, everybody's seen the show, so we got your full support behind you. Like, you went out wrong, they presented you wrong. A lot of them felt like my love wasn't there in the first place. So to hear those things come from other people and those folks, letting me know that yeah, you're good. And on the other side, having fans from the UK, from Africa, from Australia, reaching out and just being like, yo, I seen an episode and man, I wish I could have seen more of you, and it's kind of messed up how you went out. It's just like, all right, it's not just my bias for my friends and family, but those that don't even know me, seeing how it's presented and still supporting me. So all of that, just like I ignore the negativity, I have so much positivity behind me, I have so much support behind me. What other people are saying doesn't even matter. They're irrelevant.
Yeah, and I definitely got all of my family and friends who even knew about it or still find about it till this day, right? Who don't even watch reality TV. Somebody else told them or stuff like that. Everybody that I'm directly connected to, or even third party, that's family and friends. They've been very supportive. They've been trying to ride it like, I'll fuck that bitch. They've been trying to pull up.
Yeah.
They like, I know you fucking lying. That's my man, right? Like, nobody, all of my family and friends have completely been supportive. And like they call me up, like, you okay? You good? I'm like, yeah, we good. And I'm not suffering from my end, right? We know about stuff 3, 4, 5 months in advance, right? I'm not time, but I appreciate everybody checking on me and stuff like that, just in case I was going through stuff, right?
Okay.
And but everybody definitely had all positive support, and I appreciate it.
Okay. We got a couple questions before we try to wrap up. So here's the next one. Cornelius, you can follow this one up.
Okay.
Do you know what your triggers are mentally? And what do you do when you recognize them?
Shit. I mean, it could be in different subject matters, I guess. Probably my triggers as far as it relates to this process are just things like not getting a chance to represent who I am in a short period of time, because I am kind of like slow roller person, and people will pass judgment very quickly because like I'm not like rushing to the altar off a 5-minute conversation, right?
Yeah.
I think that triggers me a lot too because I am a process person. I'm an analysis person. So I do need a little bit of time to be like, yeah, you cute, but I need to like you too, right? And if I don't get that fair opportunity, in my opinion, to process that and to get to know you, then I feel like that's something that, sometimes I get misjudged on. And I don't like that part. And I also have a different love style. A lot of people talked about, something they didn't show on the show was that me, Sabrina, all the ladies at the group date with Paul, we talked about some of my non-traditional relationships, stuff like that. And so they would jump into that, or like some people would find out about that and be like, oh, and I'm just like, Sean, like, everybody is different, and you got to appreciate the differences. Everybody's not cookie cutter, and I'm definitely not a cookie cutter person, right?
Okay.
So if you can't appreciate that, then that also kind of frustrates me. But I know that, and I tamper myself down, like I said, and say, you know what? I know I got to kind of mix in with the regulars and do what the quote unquote normal people do, the traditional stuff and all that. So I do those, but I also, I try to mix it in, even though I'm a little alien. I try to mix it, survive amongst the regulars.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Who wants to go next?
I mean, I'll go on triggers real quick. For myself, I know I feel that nervousness building inside of me. I feel my heart start to race, and whether it's reading a comment or something somebody says to me, I feel it building up, and it's always that need to want to prove myself or prove why I'm right, or try to defend myself on why I did something or why I said something. And I have to just learn there's not always a need to defend yourself. We're not at war, you know what I mean? So if someone has an opinion, I can take it in. I always need to defend myself based on somebody's opinion or what somebody says. Just being confident in knowing who you are. So they can say what they want to say, they can do what they want to do. As long as you're confident in yourself and have self-awareness, what they say just ain't gonna bother you. You gotta let that shit right off. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. For me, that's kind of the same for me. Triggers for me is stupid, right? And there's no fix for stupidity. Like, you just can't fix it. And so when I notice it, I have to have that quick debate with myself. Is it worth like sliding into this bullshit, or is it just like you just let this one go? And so, that's kind of what I do. That's my fix for that. I'm triggered by just dumb, stupid, idiotic, disrespectful comments, and just that stuff in general.
Very love conversation said never even look at the comments.
I have to. I have to,
Uh-huh.
because there's some of the comments I actually like to read them because they're hilarious. But in that hilarious part, you also run into the stupid, and then that's when I'm like, don't get sucked into this. And I just back off, and then that's when I exit. You know what I'm saying? Now I'll tell you this: it's good to read. It's good to read the comments one time, but if you go back and reread that shit, that's when you gonna respond.
Yeah.
So just read it and check out.
I ain't even get on Black. I saw YouTube comments and stuff, but Twitter, they be wilding on there.
They do. They do. You can do hashtag ready to love space and then put your name in. Woo.
Nah,
yeah.
I know how I'm like, hey, y'all wouldn't say that in real life. Y'all wouldn't say that if y'all saw me at the bar.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
facts.
I've seen castmates that go in with grace and be like, "Thank you for the support." Still watch me at 8 p.m. on Fridays.
Right.
And then I've seen other castmates that be like, "You bring that energy, I'm gonna match your energy." So it just all depends on how you take it, man.
I always say nobody else's negative, sorry ass energy.
Right.
I always
right.
If your energy never match somebody's energy. Bring your own energy. That's who you are. Period. Don't never match no little low level, low hanging fruit ass motherfucker. Right? Like, hey, Sean, I talk shit too. right?
Uh-huh.
I'm never gonna let you stab me that hole because I will, like Savage said, they don't call me Savage, but anybody knows me. I'm the roast king. I will fry your whole. It'll be over for you, and I pull up. I get the address. I'm like, hey, you know where I'm at. Ain't nothing, and that ain't. That's my energy all the time. Pull up. I'm the pull up king.
Yeah.
I'm an actions person. That's my love language. I just love and my fight language. Pull up.
Right.
Right.
Fernando, did you answer that question?
Yeah, but I'll just say real quick. I see Kevin Durant made a whole fake account trying to address people on
Yeah, he
Twitter and
did.
other stuff.
It got
Trying
caught.
to defend himself. So that's how I feel. If he can go that far, you know what I mean? Like it really will affect people. So it's all in how you address the situation, how you address people's opinion. You gotta ignore that shit. Like you put your energy into it, it's gonna eat you up inside, and it just ain't worth it. Ain't worth it at all.
Okay.
Ain't lying.
So real quick, we're just gonna say we won't get into the detail of it, but real quick, a question for Mimi. You just say if it worsened or if it raised. You ready? And then we're gonna get into the last question. So did the show worsen your mental health or raise awareness? Real quick.
I would say for me, raised awareness over worsen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cornelius?
I'll probably say that I'm the same. I'm the biggest mental health advocate. Like I said, you see on my shirt, right? Protect your mental health. I didn't really move the needle on mine personally, honestly.
Okay. Fernando?
I took a positive. It was like I said, from the feedback that I got, you know, I was fortunate where I wasn't on the show long enough to really get dragged. So it wasn't. It was awareness for me. I'm good.
Okay. One last question, and I'll let y'all go in whatever order y'all want to go in. This is the last question. Who are you?
Okay, well, let me go first. I am not the mailman, although I do deliver. Okay. But no, I am a professional male, right? I'm also a music producer. I've worked with various mainstream music artists. I've produced music videos. I have a multimedia company. I do documentaries, films, short films, things like that. I am a father. I have 2 daughters, 2 women that I raised. I am who I would have them subscribe to as a partner, right? I think that the imagery that I put forth for them is how I would love to see their relationships shape as it relates to men, based off of course, a 40-minute episode. I don't think you would get that from who I am. But I am also a brother, a very supportive brother. I was raised in a house with mainly women. My mom raised me along with 6 siblings and 2 of my cousins who were females. So I'm the youngest in my family. And, at times my sister is probably watching right now. I saw her pop a comment up there, but, she'll probably say yeah to this. I am the youngest in my family, but
Aisha?
No, April.
Okay. April. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Aisha
No,
was on
cool.
my mind.
No, so it's all good. So yeah, so I'm the youngest in my family. However, in a lot of ways, I'm the oldest because I'm the one that's dropping that wisdom. That's getting in there and thinking of solutions, and just figuring things out and setting a good playing field, and designing a sort of a roadmap to victory, right? So for me, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've started from nothing, right? When I was growing up, like I said, I didn't have the opportunities. I didn't have any, we didn't have a whole lot of money. My mom took care of a house of 9 off of one salary. Lord knows what that even looked like, after the bills was paid. So for me, that made me become sort of a driver, right? And the best way to sum that up is this: I let my insecurities as I was growing up become my securities. So not having, the clothes that I wanted, not having the car, the lifestyle that I wanted, those were insecurities. And so because of those insecurities, that was the fuel that allowed me to say, okay, now I'm going to use that and become the secure person. Now I'm unbreakable. And so at the end of the day, all of those qualities, along with the fact that, I'm not only am I a mentor for my own kids, but for all of my guys, like all of my guys in my group chat, my personal friends, like the guys that I've been breaking bread with for years. I'm the mentor of the whole group as it relates to just life skills and relationships. And so when I mentioned the fact that I'm a juggernaut, right? I meant that in a way that was not to be construed as being full of myself or anything like that, but, you know, going through the work, going through the process to start from nothing and come out with something, and then have your life in a way that it can't be broken anymore. That's what a real juggernaut does. So that's me in a nutshell.
Goddamn right, Paul. Goddamn right. Woo! I like that. Fernando.
I'm a guy from Baltimore, Maryland, man. And y'all seen and heard and people things they say about it, Bodymore, Murderland, and all that kind of stuff. So being a product of my environment and trying to be different from that, not being what is expected of somebody being from Baltimore. For myself, I've been skydiving in Vegas. I've moonwalked with monks in Thailand, cliff jumped in Jamaica. Like, I've lived a life. So this TV stuff, I can say nothing in me, but it's just a small figment of things I've been through and things that I've done. Like, I've experienced so much, working at the Department of Defense, working at NASA. I have so many accomplishments. So just being on this TV show is just one aspect of who I am. I'm a fun, loving, awesome person. I have so many different qualities and traits. I'm a chef. I'm an awesome cook. I'm funny as hell in person. Also, if you get close to me, I'm loyal. I'm trusting. I'm responsible. People come to me for their issues and problems that they have. I'm like Olivia Pope or Ray Donovan. Like, you got a problem, I know how to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, whether you want to go the positive route or negative route, I can fix the situation. Just holler at me, and I can do that. But I'm not defined by one word or one meaning. I'm a lot of things, and just to give a chance to get to know me and be around me, you really get to see that. Like, you enjoy the time around me. Like, I'm worth being around. I'm worth seeing. I'm worth getting to know. So those that are around me are loyal to me, and they just I keep it 100. I'm transparent. I don't mind the critiques. I don't mind the criticism. I'm real. I'm a real person.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm actually trying to get on your travel schedule, man.
No doubt. Hey, listen, this guy, he be everywhere, anywhere, all the time.
Yeah.
Last month, like, so I turned 35 last month, so a lot of times I'm the younger guy in the room with these folks. But like, in February for my birthday, I did Colombia for a week. Then 2 weeks later, I was in Brazil celebrating Carnival. Looking at being in Mexico in about 2 weeks in Tulum. So I'm always out and about. I'm always traveling. Like, it's nothing to me. So, I'll be busy, man. I'll be busy.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm like, I'm not at home being down and depressed. I'm outside enjoying myself.
That's what's up. Keep posting them pictures and not all the pictures, but keep posting them. That's what's up, man.
Go travel.
Cornelius, what's up? Who are you, man?
I would say that I'm a multifaceted person. I'm into a lot of stuff. I'm good at a lot of stuff. I do real estate. I'm a contracts manager at the federal government. I'm an event host. I write comedy. I ghostwrite. I perform, host shows, fashion shows, hair shows, music. Got my T-shirt line. I do so many different things, man. I travel, just like Savage be traveling. I'm always in the sky, passport pimping. You gotta be on turnaround like that. Life is short, so you gotta take advantage of those things. I'm the grill master. I make the best sweet tea in DC. I'm a DC native. And I'm just a pillar of my community and my family. I'm a very responsible, thoughtful, compassionate person. You know what I'm saying? I be outside, I be doing volunteer work, all that kind of stuff, man. People, just like Paul said, people come to me for all kinds of advice and information. I always got all the information, all of it. Like, I'm the quote unquote useless facts person. I'm that person because I'm a very I'm intrigued by stuff like that, and I always like answers. I'll never give you an answer about something that I don't know about. I'll tell you I don't know before I give you a bullshit answer, right? And so, all of those things kind of sum me up, man. Like I said, it's just I do a lot of stuff. I don't think anybody should be pigeonholed into doing one specific thing, right? There's no reason for you not to explore all kinds of different career fields, all kinds of different love language, all kinds of different whatever, right? I don't have motorcycle clubs, car clubs. I got a gun store, gun club. They talk shit about me like in pumpkin spice on the thing. I got black for pumpkin spice, black for pumpkin spice like. Because, I go against all the grain. I got a cat. Everybody fry me on my cat, right? So I do a lot of shit that's not necessarily typical or standard, and I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I am, and I'm not I don't need to fit in nobody's box. I'm all, I fuck that box up. I flatten the box and put it in the trash for recycle day. You understand me? So that's who I am, man.
Yeah. Want me to tell you who you're not? You're not someone that we can find that got a suit online, man. I scoured the whole internet, man, trying to find a picture of you in a suit.
That's what I said. I was like, how you gonna put? I'm the only one on the fly with no suit on. I got suit pictures on my Instagram. And they released one. Nah, they had them on the own joint too.
Yeah, I couldn't find the full body one.
But I am the hoodie king though. Like I make my own hoodies, and I just love hoodies. Like I make my own statement tees and stuff like hoodies and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know you did that, Cornelius.
Sure.
I need to get with you, brother.
Check out Cousin Cornbread.
CousinCornbread.com.
This right here, Cornbread's Closet. I got all kinds of stuff. I got a whole line of mental health tees and hats and sweatshirts. If you want to check that out, because like I said, man, mental health therapy actually changed my whole life as far as me being a comfortable person in my own skin. You know what I'm saying? So I made a whole line about that. I've done interviews with people I know, professionals and things like that on my private podcast. So you check out all that stuff, man. But I definitely be in suits, and I look good in suits the whole time. Oh, and when y'all see the reunion, y'all see my nice new blue suit.
Okay. All right. One last question. So this is two-part. So answer this last question and then give some last words to the audience. All right, because we're going to close the show. All right, ready? This is the next question. What mental advice would you give to the Miami cast? Because they're going to be up next.
Okay, so for me, I would say this. Know exactly what you're signing up for. Be prepared to look totally different at some times than you normally would, and understand that you're allowing them to create the character that they want you to be, and as long as you're okay with that, you probably will do fine. But if you're not okay with that, then you need to start your therapy now, because it's going to hit like a ton of bricks. I'm just going to keep it real with you. Yeah, I mean, and then the other part is too, you know, part of your mental health lies in the way that you take care of your body. So in other words, your food, your eating habits, and your resting habits. And trust me, all of that will change for what is it, 2 months or 3 months, however many months or weeks or whatever you're in that process. All of those habits will change, no doubt about it. So, you know, be prepared to, you know, to have to deal with that too. Other than that, I mean, if you can manage all of that stuff, yeah, I think you'll be fine.
Okay. Any last words for the people?
Yeah, my last words is this. Enjoy the show, and enjoy, I guess, the high times that I have on there. And, you know, if there's things that you don't like about the character that they're presenting to you, you have to understand that they have a job to do, and that is to keep you engaged, right? And so as long as you guys see something that's distasteful, that makes you angry, that makes somebody look cringy or whatever, then they're doing their jobs, right? And so although they have a job to do, I have a life to live, right? So all I ask is that you, until you have a conversation with me one-on-one, then you should only believe half of what you're seeing.
All right. Good stuff, Paul. Who wants to go next? Cornbread, Fernando.
I'll let my man Fernando go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Fernando.
Sure.
So for the Miami cast, what advice would you give the Miami cast, and what are some last words?
So I feel like there's 3 significant parts of the journey for me. You gotta keep in mind, preparing to be on the show. So whether it's wardrobe, getting fit, whatever, getting mentally ready to be on it. Then, you know, you have your filming. But once filming is done, it's like 4 or 5 months where you're just sitting around waiting for it to air. So a lot of times you're kind of going through your head, like, you know, what are they going to say about me? How are they going to present me? You kind of worrying about it. And then the third part is once it airs and having to deal with the comments, the trolls, you know, your family and friends reaching out to you, people that have seen it, the randoms hitting you up from high school, from middle school, from college, all like, hey, I saw you on TV, and then they're going to say about you. So there's 3 different areas I had to prepare myself for and I had to deal with. And just remember who you were before the process started. Because no matter what is said or done on the show, you still who you are before you apply to be on there, before you're brought onto the show. And remember that. Keep stand in that and just know that you are still who you are, despite what they may say about you, despite how the show presents you. You still are who you are before that show aired. So don't forget who you are, and don't let them dictate who you are. Still remember who you are. My last one, closing words. Last thing I want to say. What folks saw of me at that mixer is not savage. It's not who I really am. I was uncomfortable, you know, dealing with anxiety, just being nervous. I'm not somebody who actually meets women out in public. I've never been a guy to say, "Can I get your number?" on the street. Never really been me. I have a good job. I have a good time dating. I got a lot of friends I'm cool with, you know. But I never needed to meet women face to face all the time. That wasn't really my approach. So being on a mixer, meeting 7 different people, you know, all brand new, knowing nothing about them was uncomfortable for me. So it's unfortunate you guys didn't get to see a real image or real presentation of who Fernando really is. I just saw an uncomfortable guy dealing with a situation, and it's a long day. So 16-hour day that's cut down into like 40 minutes, and you get to see like 5-10 minutes of me. It's not a true representation of who I am. So I asked you to go to Try Being Savage on IG, you know, get to see who I am and get a more insight on my life and the type of life that I live. Like, you know, Ready to Love, the TV show is cool, but it's a lot more to Savage than just that.
Right.
Yeah, and I would kind of what both guys said already, which is, you know, just make sure that when you're going into this process, that you're comfortable with who you are, because don't feel like you're gonna have to depend on the editors and the producers to present you to the world, right? And once they put it out there, because there's gonna come because everything's not gonna be negative either, right? There's some of the stuff will make you look good too, right? Because they're gonna need it and have you look in a certain kind of way, a little bit good, because people ain't gonna watch it or they're gonna be having a riot if you don't, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to be comfortable with the fact that there is gonna be editing. Like I said, I've been saying this the whole interview. It's still TV. It still requires production. It still requires editing. All that stuff is still a show. Like Paul said, they have a job to do. So don't rely on that to fulfill you inside as this is what the world about to see about me. Mm-hmm. So once you take that part out of it, I think that it'll be a more pleasant process. It'll make you feel like, I know what I put out there. Put your best foot forward. Put your best self out there, and then you won't have the kind of letdown that some of us and some of the previous cast members have had by thinking that people gonna do you a favor almost by showing how great you are, right? And so I think that's probably my main thing of advice for that. Just be comfortable with yourself, know who you are, and represent as best you can. My last word of advice probably would be, my last little sign off would be something that I say on my podcast, and it's 3 things, 3 parts. The first one is stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. Like these guys said, physically, mentally, all that stuff, work out, do all that stuff, eat. They will not feed you. 2.
He said that.
2. But they're gonna feed you, but they're gonna be. If y'all watch it, y'all see we got the plates in front of us, but we don't never touch it just because we talking about it. But anyway, so number 2 is always have a plan. Always have your own plan, or you'll always work for somebody that does have a plan. Mm-hmm. Number 3, don't drink and drive. Log out.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, again, I want to applaud you all for being able to talk about your experiences, show your vulnerability, because there is strength in vulnerability. It's very important to me because I literally did this portion, but on national TV. So, again, I'm always here for y'all. Thank you so much for doing this. Thanks to everyone in the audience, for being here and showing the support. I wish you all nothing but happiness and success. We're going to be rooting for y'all in life, and in the future. I will always be here. If y'all ever need anything, if we want to do this again, we can always do it again. And I'll just leave it at that. I've been putting up some of my favorite comments from throughout the chat. So thank you all for putting those comments in. This was really good for everyone that's listening. We do have an entire mental health playlist, and we've been talking about men's mental health. Sabrina and my friend Cameo was on talking about domestic violence. My sister's going to be on really soon to talk about mental health, but from a 911 dispatcher perspective. You know what I mean? She's been doing that for 20 years. And just, with Black Lives Matter, and she's going to be able to talk about how the message being relayed from the 911 dispatcher to the police officer once they arrive on scene can change the emotional state of the officer as they arrive, right? But they don't really talk about that a lot. So we definitely are going to do this again. Thank you all so much for joining us. And we are going to call it a day. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks, man. All right, brother.
Appreciate y'all.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Have a good one, man.
All right.
All right.